So the Lakers were crowned NBA champs less than 48 hours ago, and our friends at Fox Bet have wasted zero time setting the table for next season. They've got LeBron and the Lakers as the favorites to repeat at plus 350. Clippers listed second, followed by the Warriors, Bucks, Celtics, and how about that? The Nets, all of those second, third, fourth, fifth place have brought nothing but joy to Nick Wright. Chris Broussard is joining us now for what I'm sure will be fiery and fun conversation. I want to start with you, though, Nick. Who's a better bet to win a title in 2021? The Lakers or the Field?
I'll take the Lakers. Took the Lakers last year. It's worked out pretty well. The Field, when you look at that list, massive disrespect for the silver and bronze finishers of the bubble, Miami and Denver. They're not even listed. It's just play the same old hits, I suppose, with the betting markets. The Clippers, obviously, embarrassingly overvalued. Do they have a coach yet? I'm not sure. I haven't heard. We should look into that. And the Warriors, what they have baked in there, evidently, is that they're going to trade for a star. Unfortunately for them, they don't have the assets to do it. They do have Broussard's favorite fourth option of all time, Andrew Wiggins, so they have that going for them, which is nice. But the Warriors is crazy. The Nets are scary, and the Nets, if they learn from the mistakes of the Clippers, should be second favorites right behind the Lakers. But I don't know if they're going to learn from those mistakes, and that Kyrie KD podcast deserves its own 10-hour Last Dance style documentary breaking down all of the insanity that was said in those 2 hours. But the Bucks, if they add a piece, are scary. The Nuggets have the assets to add a piece. That's scary. But yeah, Broussard, I'm going to go ahead and go with the team with the best player in the league, and maybe next year a top 3 player in Anthony Davis. I'll take them against the Field, and we'll see how it shakes out.
Well, I will reserve the right to make my official pick before the season starts. But right now, I'm actually going to agree with Nick. I will go with the Lakers. I think they should enter next season. They shouldn't enter as the favorite. The bottom line, they should enter as the favorite. Now, let me just clear the record since y'all dissing. All right, last year I picked the Lakers at this time, too. When they got Anthony Davis, I picked the Lakers, and I worked with them. I stuck with them. After Christmas Day, their second loss to the Clippers, I said, you know what? They can't beat the Clippers. All right, so I went on the Clippers. But I was wrong. All right. But now I would say you have to start with the Lakers next season.
Right.
Anthony Davis,
Chris,
Anthony Davis is only going to get better. Well, no, I'm an analyst. I'm analyzing. Things change at times. I don't have a team I root for, but I'm calling it like I see it.
Me neither.
Right now, I see it as the Lakers are the best team, but my official pick will come before the season starts. Look, Anthony Davis is going to get better. I think this experience, this winning, on the grand stage, LeBron will continue to motivate him to push him to begin to seal his own legacy. And I'm going to keep motivating LeBron by dangling that goat carrot out in front of him. Unlike Nick Wright. Nick Wright is just worship and adoration that would make King James complacent. I'm going to continue to motivate him to be even better. Everyone else has questions. Brooklyn, there's questions. Milwaukee, they need another star. Houston, are they going to play small ball or are they going to play big? The Clippers, as you said, chemistry questions, who's going to be the coach? And everybody else is young. Denver, Philadelphia, Boston. Miami's just not that talented. Let's keep it real. So, yeah, right now, the Lakers should be the favorites. I know you think they're the best team, them in Denver, Brandon, but...
More shots. Broussard's out here emptying the clip, man. Go ahead, Wild. Sorry.
Go ahead, Wild.
Hey, all right. So, I mean, it's all like who's getting better, who's getting worse, right? The team that got a lot better is Brooklyn. So if I had to take the Field, I like Brooklyn. But Broussard, you said something very interesting. You said the Bucks need another star. We know that Chris Paul is probably not long for Oklahoma City. You know he's got a big contract, and Lazary met with Giannis over a 3-hour lunch, which is a very long lunch to discuss we're going to get another star. But if Chris Paul goes to Milwaukee, I feel like the world would turn on the Lakers and say Giannis is now going to be the champion. Are you buying that?
I think you still have to stay with the Lakers, but I think Milwaukee obviously would be better. But we would have to see how it works.
Still.
Well, here's the thing. Chris
worked
Paul would
perfectly.
have the ball in his hands. How is Giannis? I'm not saying it wouldn't work. I'd have to see it because Giannis has played with the ball in his hands for the last several years. That's how he's emerged as a superstar. How would he be primarily off the ball? He doesn't shoot it well. Is he going to post? Maybe. You know, but I think that would be an interesting experiment, but one worth taking because it would potentially make them the champs. I would just stay with LA right now.
Man. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with the field. I mean, you got Golden State out there. They're healthy. They're going to come back fired up. You got the other team on the other side of LA, and you also got the Nets. You know, if Kyrie can stay healthy, they're going to be a problem. And you also, so while you said that, Chris said something interesting. Chris, you said another thing interesting. You said that the Heat they're not that good. Is that what you said?
They're not.
I don't think they're one of the 5, off the top of my head, most talented teams in the league.
Great, but that's who the Lakers just beat in the finals. So for me, I said this earlier, it's not a knock, Nick, on the great LeBron James. I'm not taking anything away from it. It's not an asterisk. I think that LeBron James and how he's built and his mindset and how he approached this restart in the bubble gave them the advantage to win the championship. But when you look at this was the easiest path to the championship of all of LeBron's finals. You got to think about what the LA Lakers did coming into it. They actually didn't want to come. Other teams were struggling mentally. Other teams had guys opting out. So when you look at this and you talk about the LA Lakers, I can see if we were talking about them if they beat a really good team in the finals. They did not. So for that reason, I'm taking the field.
But,
the Miami Heat, they weren't supposed to be in the finals.
Brandon, but before the finals, they beat Denver, who I know you think is a great team, and they beat them in 5. They beat a Rockets team with 2 MVP. Okay,
not a championship team.
Listen, guess what? Guess what? Nobody in the league this year was a championship team except for one team that won the championship. We got no real defending champ because Kawhi left, so you can't say the Raptors were a championship team. They lost Kawhi. The Warriors, they weren't whole. So this year it was like the defending champion spot was kind of vacant. So there was no championship team. There was only going to be one. It's the one that won the title. And it is, if the Lakers had won the title because a major player on the Clippers or a major player on the Bucks got hurt, then I would listen to this easy path stuff. But the idea that the path was easy because the teams that the media said were supposed to be good weren't as good as the media told us they were going to be, that's insanity. The Clippers were not that good. The Clippers got beat by a team that the Lakers washed over. And the Bucks, for as dominant as they were in the regular season, there were some folks, admittedly I wasn't one of them, pointing out their major playoff flaws all year long, and that got exposed in the postseason, not coincidentally, by the team the Lakers then ended up beating. So it wasn't.
You got to take that into account. Well, in the middle of a global pandemic, a lot of racial tension, and the LA Clippers was supposed to face the LA Lakers, and for whatever reason, they had so many issues. It's not about. It had nothing to do with them on the court. Everything off the court.
No. Kawhi and Paul George, I think, are still trying to make a second half shot. So, no, I think it was on the court. They were not very good.
We will continue to talk about this. We got to take a turn now and check in with the Cowboys. Their quarterback, Dak Prescott, is out of surgery. He's got a long recovery ahead of him. Where do the Cowboys go from here with Andy Dalton under center? This is First Things First.